Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the community, to a presentation on the Central Park Precinct, formerly the Carlton United Brewery site. Planning is a political and legal process used to govern the use of land and the built environment. It seeks to balance development with that which is in the public's interest. The EP&A Act is a cornerstone piece of legislation regulating planning and development in New South Wales. It provides for the creation of state environmental planning policies, local environmental plans and development control plans by which land and development is managed. Initiatives such as the Sustainable Sydney 2030 plan provide the vision that influences EPIs and shapes what a consent authority will consider to be in the public's interest. The Central Park site is a 5.8 hectare site and is one of the largest urban renewal projects in the City of Sydney. The Minister for Planning, Frank Sartor, used his power under Part 3A of the EP&A Act to determine the planning matter on the site, declaring it a state significant site. This effectively took control of any significant approvals on the site away from the Council. Council would be consulted along with other statutory authorities and stakeholders, but its decision-making powers were removed. In evaluating the proposed master plan, the Minister must consider all relevant EPIs and strategic plans. So how effectively did the New South Wales Department of Planning ensure that the development project upheld the framework of the EPIs, and could the process have been better improved? Any prospective development must justify its proposal in the context of environmental sustainability. The EP&A Act and LEP generally, and the Basic Steps specifically, aim to regulate water and energy usage across the state and provide the framework for a sustainable future. The Central Park development has been developed within this framework. It has a tri-generation plant which supplies on-site energy and a comprehensive water capture and recycle system which will reduce consumption. The exterior of the building is one of the most obvious signals that there is a distinct green edge to this development, with its towers wrapped in hydroponic vertical gardens. Central Park has actively addressed the shortage of affordable student housing with the provision of 828 student dwellings across the site. Some feel this was not enough, considering the size and location of the site. However, given there was none there to begin with, the effect of this new accommodation still benefits the area. 2 VPAs were entered into over the site. VPAs are tied to title, so it creates certainty that all future landowners will have to abide by them. The first VPA involved a $32 million contribution to the Redfern Waterloo Authority for affordable housing. The second VPA involved community infrastructure, including a public park, public domain works, demolition, drainage and remediation, and road and pedestrian works. Community concerns in regards to open spaces was addressed with a Publix that is over 25% larger than in the initial concept plan, with a 4,000 square metre piazza adjoining it. The introduction of a cantilevered heliostat reduces overshadowing caused by its 2 towers, as it reflects natural light into areas which would have otherwise been overshadowed. Sustainable Sydney 2030 was adopted in 2007 after extensive consultation with the community. The plan sets goals to make Sydney green, global and connected. The development concept plan meets a number of these targets under this plan. The Sydney Metropolitan and Sydney 2030 vision focuses on the reduction of traffic congestion and increased use of cycleways and footpaths. It was imperative for the New South Wales Department of Planning to ensure that the development addressed these principles. The development addresses the need for providing integrated transport by providing 2,000 underground parking spaces with multiple entry and exit points. A dedicated car share program, GoGet, is also available for residents and workers, which should reduce the reliance on surplus vehicles. The development was designed to integrate pedestrian and cycle paths with Sydney's Cycleways program, thus providing multiple safe and healthy transport options for residents and minimising the carbon footprint. Transformation of underutilised sites is an express goal of CEP, LEP and Metro Planning instruments throughout New South Wales. By creating a mixed-use development inclusive of public open spaces, artworks, cultural studios and retail outlets, the development is renewing a formerly derelict site. CEP 55 governed the project's extensive remediation work necessarily in conforming the site from its former industrial use to make the land habitable for occupation, and a large number of heritage items have also been retained. Public consultation and collaborative design are essential in urban renewal for the protection of the public's interests. The New South Wales Department of Planning ensured that the community was consulted. We understand that the community felt that they were not as involved in the planning process as they would have liked to have been. The Environmental Assessment Report and State Significant Site Study were publicly exhibited for 32 days in 2006, and in retrospect, perhaps for a development projects of such large scale, such period should be extended to at least 60 days to ensure that the public are fully aware of the project and have ample opportunity for their voices to be heard. We also feel that if the collaboration eventually attained by the developers and several stakeholders in the community subsequent to the second design approval had been ascertained from the beginning, it would have streamlined the process and allowed for greater transparency in design, planning and development process from the start. That being said, Fraser's Property Group and Sekasui House continue to run community engagement events for the current and future stages of development, in addition to the statutory public exhibition project run by the Department of Planning and Environment and the City of Sydney. Online information is also readily available. This process is a fine example of collaborative design. The final modified concept plan provides the model for innovative design and sets the new standards for desirable development and has in some ways shaped the Sydney 2030 vision for which all future major developments should aspire. This project has been developed within the New South Wales Department of Planning's framework and has created a development that is beneficial to the city.